Welcome back to News Across Nigeria. For more on our top stories and others, please check our website, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Now, a bit about the Channels TV and the Channels 24 apps. They will give you access to news and updates. You'll also have access to the Eyewitness feature, with which you can share pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions to share. There is renewed commitment from the Kwara State government to complete infrastructure projects before the end of the present administration. Most of the projects will be funded under a special arrangement where a certain amount will be deducted from internally generated revenue to pay the contractors. The focus now, according to the governor, is to look for ways to increase the state's IGR, placing part of the responsibility on incoming local government chairmen.
At the inception of this administration, we had challenges with funding of our projects because of the drop in our federation allocation and the low level of our IGR. But we have since worked on that, especially our IGR. And today I'm happy to let you know that we've had over a 300% increase. Precisely, we moved from 7 billion in 2015 to 17 billion in 2016, which is a reflection of the change we brought in to the Internal Revenue Services. This has created a pathway for us to fund our capital projects. In other words, it's a kind of confirmation to let you know that any project that is initiated now would necessarily be taken to completion because the cash flow has been worked out and is in tandem with the support that comes in from our internally generated revenue.
Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed. Now back to Benue State, where commuters plying the Makurdi-Lafia Federal Road have been given a harrowing experience after heavy floods eroded a portion of the route between Kadarko in Nasarawa and Yelwata in Benue State. The situation has led to a near total disconnect between Benue and Nasarawa state capitals, resulted in a massive gridlock, hampering vehicular movement of commuters from the northern to the southern part of the country. In response to the commuters' plight, the Benue State Governor, Mr. Samuel Otom, has directed contractors to immediately commence palliative work on the access cut off by the erosion.
We're just trying to mobilize one of our contractors to go there and try to do some emergency work. Otherwise, we don't want it. Because if we have that kind of heavy rain, the road will be divided into two. So that has happened in several roads. That is a federal road with all the fortification. And the solid work was done. If that is done, how do we talk about state roads? It's a very big challenge. So I look forward that the federal government will give us more attention. I know you have been giving us, but this one should be a clear signal. And with the prompt response of Mr. President and the Honorable Minister and several federal government agencies, we look forward that they will help.
Benue State Governor Samuel Otom. Now we'll go on to Cross River State, where the governor there, Professor Ben Ayade, has announced plans via a major manganese processing company to relocate its plant to the state following the discovery of large amounts of manganese and other mineral resources. Ayade says it became necessary to look inward for alternative sources of income generation following the dwindling rate of oil. He made the announcement in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, on arrival from a meeting with a proposed investor and other investors willing to do business in the state from a foreign trip.
Manganese we have found is the future. If oil is not the future, what is the future? The future is technology. If cars will not drive with gas, if cars will not drive with petrol, if gas will drive with electric, what do you use to produce the battery? The major component is manganese. We have the largest deposit of manganese in Nigeria. And I'm happy to announce to you that the last meeting I had before leaving for Nigeria is a major manganese processing company. They are already ready, they are strong and available. They're actually working in Conakry right now, and they are ready to relocate their manganese plant to Cross River State. Very soon, you see a team arrive for manganese processing. And once we start processing manganese, Cross River is out of the woods.
Governor of Cross River State, Professor Ben Ayade. Now we're being joined by the Commissioner for Solid Minerals in Cross River State, Mr. George Obenchi. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Obenchi.
Thank you.
Let's start by looking at how important this development is to the mineral sector in Cross River State.
Well, thank you, The fact of the matter is that oil is no longer in vogue in Nigeria. And as you also know, Cross River State is also not looking to oil anymore, having lost its status as an oil-producing state. And so the focus of this administration is to now begin to look inward with a view to creating jobs for our people, bringing about technology, and of course, changing the lifestyle of our people, and also increasing the internally generated revenue from the solid mineral sector. Remember that when this governor took over, he did say that he inherited a rich state. Most people believe that by saying that he inherited a rich state, he was talking about money in the bank. No. That's why he's trying for us to look inward to be able to develop this sector, because this sector is one sector that is capable of taking Cross River State to that El Dorado that we've always been desired of reaching.
Now, you just talked about one mineral here, that's manganese. What are the other ones that have been discovered in large deposits enough to attract investors?
Well, apart from the one that we know, which is limestone and granite, we've discovered a very chunk of magnetic iron ore. Now, that is one mineral that we never knew we had, and luckily, we're working with the coordinator of the NGSA office in Cross River and Akwa Ibom. And when we discovered this, we discovered that the manganese find that we found from Isobendega, stretching all the way to Bendegasi in Ikom, can actually carry a steel company. Now, don't forget that recently, because of His Excellency's travels to China, there was a team that came from Hancheng province, a steel company, asking if we have the magnetic type of iron ore. That is one area that we're looking at. Beyond that, also, we've also realized that we have a good chunk of lead ore. Before now, what we used to have was lead ore that would occur around where you have barite. But now we have that lead ore that is 100% lead ore and is in high demand. Now, illuminate is also another resource that is well sought after, internationally. Luckily for us, we found out in Ishibori, Goja local government. And the beauty about what we've done is that in all of the local government that we've gone to, we've discovered that virtually every of our communities do have one strong resources, solid mineral resources, that is capable of not only generating employment, but changing the lifestyle of our people, and of course, bringing resources, to our state. And so, of course, Cross Riverians will now understand that every of the trade that His Excellency makes abroad has always been to be able to better the lives of our people.
Mr. Benchi, there's just one last question. If you could just answer this real quick because we're almost out of time. What about the effects of these mining processes on the environment? And then are the states allowed to mine these minerals? Because we do know that there's that part about the federal government being in charge, or more or less like managing all the resources in the country.
What we've done is within our right as a state, and we intend to work with the federal government to ensure that the licenses that we require, for investors to partner with us to develop this sector, we will do. Don't forget that recently we just got licenses covering other areas. We have to go through the processes of getting license from the Mining Cadastral Office. We know what the law stipulates. We intend to follow the law to the latter. And of course, we're conscious of the fact that our people must be protected. That's why in everything that we do, environmental impact assessment is key. We intend to do all of that, because we intend to make sure that going by the laws, we bring the right investors to Cross River State that can help us develop this sector that we know that is that cash-edge sector that can turn around the economy of Cross River State.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obenchi, Commissioner for Solid Minerals in Cross River State. Thank you for speaking with us. And still ahead on News Across Nigeria, Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello assures the people of Kogi State of dividends of democracy.